Okay, let's do this.
Okay, this is Ben Kaplan. We're at Scout's Honor. I'm here with Raina. She's the 88.1 afternoon drive host. We're ready to get into 5 shots.
I'm pretty scared and excited.
Raina, you're working at radio?
Yes.
Tricky time with radio. I don't even remember the last new radio station that opened up here.
I wouldn't even know before us, to be honest, who else would have been the last ones.
So what's the vibe at 88.1?
It's awesome. The cool thing about working there is that everybody who works there is a music fan and they love what they're doing. I guess because it's so new, like we started out and everybody who's there was basically there for the first day when we pushed the button to turn it on, right? So we're all connected to it. It feels like our baby and it's really, really exciting.
Let me ask you this, what band could you get fired for playing?
Well, the nice thing about indie is that we aren't exclusive and we try not to be too cool. However, I mean, there are probably bands that would not go over well with our audience. Like if I put Lady Gaga on, I don't know if people would be stoked on it. But at the same time, if there was a good reason, like when we first started, when we were testing our signal, we did an entire 7 days, an entire week of just Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up. And that was it. And then there was one time we used to do this thing called the Throne of Glory where we would have people come in and DJ an hour of radio. And I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Brendan Canning. I could be wrong, but he brought in a JoJo song. And he was like, this is an amazing pop song, like listen to it. And you listen to it and you're like, wow, this is actually, if you listen to it for being a good song, it's a good song. It may not have like the cool aesthetic that people associate with like the word indie, but it's still good. So, oh Lord. Here we go.
They're feeling all right?
Feeling so far so good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you think the radio station coming out new, why did there need to be another one? So what was not happening on the radio?
I think you could ask lots of people in Toronto sort of that same question, and I think they would all kind of say that there's this niche of music that was sort of being underrepresented. You know, you'd have songs that would be huge online, or you know they'd go viral, or they'd be or be huge bands in Toronto, and they were just not getting any play.
Like who?
Like Toronto bands, for example, like July Talk. That was the third song we played on our station was a July Talk song, and like they've been doing great. They weren't getting any real love before that. Darcy's are another one. Bands like the Zolas from Vancouver. So there's a lot of Canadian stuff that was sort of being underrepresented, and I feel like there's sort of that connection to the community was sort of missing from FM, like commercial radio in Toronto.
And now, do you listen to the stuff? Like, can you break a band? What do you do there actually?
I'm in the music department, and part of my job is like go to shows and see like what's happening and sort of be on the ground and sort of be like the face of the station in Toronto. So I'm supposed to go out there and like, because I've been working in radio for a long time and I've been sort of part of the music scene in Toronto and been around those people for a long time, I have like sort of this network, and I have like people that I trust too. Like if they're going to something, I'm like, okay, this is probably something that I should be paying attention to. There's a lot of really loud, weird music in Toronto. It's amazing. It's a little hard to put on the radio. But if you put Fucked Up on at like 5 when your mom's driving home from work, you're probably gonna have people turning it off.
Do you like every song you play?
Yes.
Is that like
I have to like every song I play. Of course there are songs I like more than others.
Yeah. One time I was on my way to a wedding.
This is gonna be a good story.
What's one lesson people that want to get into radio?
Oh God.
I mean, like, don't leave dead space. Yeah.
Well, there's that. Oh, I actually, sorry, this is like kind of a tangent.
Hit me.
But I actually had every radio person's nightmare happen to me a little while ago. Had never ever happened to me before. I'd written out this break and I was reading it, and it was supposed to be Arcade Fire, Reflector. Or no, Here Comes the Night. It was supposed to be Arcade Fire, Here Comes the Night. So I wrote up this whole thing about it, and I didn't look at the computer screen, finished it, and then pressed play, and it was Reflector by Arcade Fire, not Here Comes the Night. And my boss comes up to the window, and he like comes in, and he's like, what are you doing? And I basically turned the song on, but forgot to turn the mic off.
Oh, so the
And
conversation.
so my boss, I was like, what the hell, man? Like you didn't tell me I had my break written. Like I didn't know. And he was like, well, you know, like you should have looked at the screen. I'm like, well, I had all my notes. And like we're all yelling at each other, but you know, my boss and I have a good relationship, but like it's all on air. And then this other girl in the office like comes out and she's like, you're on air. And I just like suddenly went like this, and I could feel my whole face turn red. And I like turned down the mic and turned it off. And I just like went over and like stood against the wall, and I was like, oh my god. And I said to my boss, I'm like, did I swear at you? And he's like, I don't think you did. And I'm like, we need to check if I swore at you or not. And
because there's a fine for that?
Well, yeah, if somebody catches you swearing, you get in trouble. And
I swear on this thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Fuck. And I didn't, thank goodness. But after that, like Twitter started, like messages started coming in being like, who changed Raina's notes? And like, I was so embarrassed. And I'm like, do you think people think I'm stupid? My boss was like, they probably don't think you're stupid, but they might think you're kind of a bitch now because you just screamed at me like for like 5 minutes over the city of Toronto. Now I'm trying to wean myself off of scripting everything. Right. So at CBC, you like always talk about the listener. It's like, have you ever done this or this? And using the word I or me is almost like, I felt like it was like a dirty word. Like I wasn't
at CBC.
Yeah. So at Indy, I've sort of been the same way. So my boss has like started asking me to like talk more about myself and tell a story about myself every day after 7 o'clock, because it's like when less people are listening and I can sort of practice. And this only started this week. I've told 2 stories about myself. One was about my first session at therapy, and one was about Dungeons and Dragons. And I was like, maybe we don't want me talking about myself anymore, because this is like, I just look like a weirdo. So hopefully I'll have better stories next week.
Are you still in therapy?
I just had my first one. I think it's really important to like do that kind of stuff. And I've never done it. I was really nervous, and I went in, and I like loved it. Yeah. You basically just I already hate my parents. Now it's great. 1 session, hate them. They ruined my life. I'm just joking. I love my parents very much. Mom, Dad, if you're watching this. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to be allowed to like to pay someone to just listen to you.
Right. And then fix you. Not fix you, but
I guess help. So, yeah. I guess it's weird because I get paid for people to listen to me, but then I have to go pay someone to listen to me more. Right. That's a weird thing I never really thought about before. These shots are making me very introspective.
All right. Well, thanks very much for talking to us today.
Thank you so much. What a fun time. Scouts Honor rules.